Hey guys, it is Aoife from Fred Weasley Died Laughing, and I'm here with my first November weekly wrap-up. The first book I read this week was called Crane by Stacey Rourke. This is part of a series called the Legends Saga series, or trilogy I think it is. It is the first book in the series. It is absolutely, has such a beautiful cover. I just could not not pick this book up when I saw it on Amazon. It was only like 99 pence. Each book in the series was only like 99p, so I had to buy all of them because I wanted to read them, and I'd heard about them from Ben from Benjamin on Tomes, his channel. He has talked about these books as well and said how creepy they are, so I thought they were good for kind of the Halloween season, and I didn't read it on Halloween, but I did get to it a little bit after Halloween, so it was still creepy enough for me. This book is all about a girl called Arlen Crane, and she is about 24 years of age, and she moves to Sleepy Hollow to kind of start a new life for herself. And as soon as she moves into Sleepy Hollow, all these weird things start happening, and it's almost as if the Headless Horseman has come back and is starting to kill off people. So Arlen kind of finds herself becoming embroiled in this weird thing that's happening in this town, and she doesn't really believe any of the myths or the legends. She thinks it's all just stories, and she starts to figure out whether maybe a little bit of it is real or maybe a little bit of it isn't real, and what does she have to do with any of this. So I did like this book, but I found myself a little bit detached from it. I'm not really sure why. It might have just been my mindset while I was reading it. Maybe I just wasn't completely focused on the story and on the book. Maybe my mind was just in different places. I'm not really sure, but I did find myself just a little bit detached from the story and from the characters, and I didn't particularly connect with Arlen, or I didn't particularly care for her in any way. Even though she isn't a bad character, she doesn't do bad things, but I still didn't find myself really caring for her. So I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, simply because I just didn't enjoy it enough to give it any higher than that. But I did like it. I think I'm a really big fan of the TV show Sleepy Hollow, so I found it hard to distinguish between the characters I knew from Sleepy Hollow the TV show with the same characters in this book, such as Ichabod Crane and Katrina. I've kind of had to separate them both in my head, and I found it a little bit hard doing that because some of the actions and some of the personality traits of Ichabod in the book wouldn't be the kind of personality traits that I would give Ichabod from the TV show, so I found that a little bit difficult as well. But overall, a pretty creepy read. I am going to go on and read the next book in the series soon to try and find out what happens, because I think the next book sounds pretty exciting. So I think a little bit more action will take place in the next book, and I am looking forward to that. So yeah, 3 out of 5 stars, and I would recommend people read it if they're looking for a creepy Sleepy Hollow-esque read. The next book I read is a book I got from NetGalley, so big thank you to NetGalley and the publishers for that, and it is The Beach Hut by Cassandra Parkin. This book is centred around a pair of siblings called Ava and Finn, and they show up on this beach in Cornwall one day, and they have built a beach hut on this beach, and they plan to stay for a few months before heading off. And throughout the book we kind of get glimpses into Ava and Finn's life and in their past, and we figure out why it's kind of the two of them against the world, and you know, they have this amazing bond, like they're brother and sister but they're best friends. Ava is older than Finn, and she's always been kind of like another mother to him. She's always looked after him, and we just see all these little glimpses of their lives and different things in their lives that have really brought them together, and I really like that. And then there's 2 other characters in this book called Donald and Alicia. This is a father and a daughter that live near the beach where Ava and Finn are staying, and they kind of become entangled in their lives as well, and they're dealing with stuff at the same time, and they kind of have a love-hate relationship with Ava and Finn, and it's where they kind of all help each other get over different things and to get past different things in their lives. So this was a pretty interesting, whimsical read. Ava and Finn are kind of like these people that you don't really believe are real until you meet them. They're a little bit airy-fairy, you know, they're living on a beach, they don't seem to have any proper job or proper source of income or anything like this. In particular, Finn, he is a writer and he's writing fairy tales. And interspersed in between the chapters of the story are are what I would presume to be Finn's fairy tales, and the fairy tales all have to do, they're all linked really kind of subtly with the characters in the book and with the storylines in the book. So you could say be reading a book about, you know, a boy and a girl who meet a bear in the woods or something like that, and then you can identify that boy and a girl as Ava and Finn, and maybe the bear as Donald or something like that. So it was really, really interesting to read. I really, really enjoyed those little tidbits that I got while reading those stories. They were just really good. I didn't care too much for Donald and Alicia's kind of backstory. I didn't care too much for them, as I just really, really liked Ava and Finn and I loved their story, and I would have preferred to read all about them and not about anybody else, because I just found them to be really, really interesting characters. But overall, this was a really, really nice book. I thought it was going to be a very summary book, but it's actually set at the very, very end of summer, coming into kind of September and October. So it was actually a great time of year to read the book, because it's near around the same time of year that it is now. So that was actually fine for me, because I was afraid that I might be reading a summer read at the wrong time, basically. But I really, really enjoyed the book, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was actually a complete mood read for me, and I am not actually a mood reader. I generally kind of have a list of books. I kind of know what I'm going to read next, and I don't really vary from that. I kind of have a list of books that I want to read in a particular month or in a particular week, especially if I have library books. I know I have to read them before I read anything else, so I kind of go, you know, bam, bam, bam. Depending on, you know, the order of my books are piled up in, I tend to just take from the top and I'll go from there. But this was a mood read. After I finished The Beach Hut, I just felt, I don't know why, I just felt like I needed something that I'd read before, and for the time of year it is, I decided to pick up The Hunger Games because I want to reread the books before the last movie comes out. So I've read The Hunger Games and I'm so happy I did. This is always going to be a 5-star read for me. It was just really great to come back and to reread, you know, the start of Katniss and Peeta's relationship, and the start of the Hunger Games. Well, not really the start of the Hunger Games, but, you know, our first glimpse into the Hunger Games and into the capital and how things are run. And I just loved it. I just loved coming back and rereading all my favourite characters and just different like lines in the book that just made me sigh, you know, things that Peeta says to Katniss that I just absolutely adore. So I just really love coming back, and again, 5 out of 5 stars. And I went on and I watched the movie last night, and that was amazing. And yeah, so I'll probably be reading Catching Fire at some point during this week as well, and I'll watch that movie too, so it'll probably be in my wrap up next week as well. And after The Hunger Games, I finished up my very last book, which I actually kind of read in one sitting, because I read most of it today, like about 98% of it today, and that was Put a Spell on You by Clarke, and this is another NetGalley book, so again, thanks to NetGalley and the publishers for letting me read it. So this is a really kind of entertaining light read, and it was a really nice, it's a very stormy day in Ireland today, you know, it's lashing rain, and I wasn't going to be able to do much outside of the house, so I was kind of stuck inside all morning, and this was a perfect read for that kind of day. It was very light, entertaining, funny, you know, and I got through it really fast. As I've said, I read most of it today, and it's only 4:30, so I read it in a few hours. It didn't take long at all. So this book is about a girl called Josie, and her life just isn't going the way she wants it to go. Her boyfriend has kind of stopped working full-time in the ad agency, and he's decided to grow vegetables on an allotment, and he like volunteers at a donkey sanctuary. And then her best friend has had a baby and is all baby brain, and then her mom is moving in with this new guy who she doesn't really like, and she is about to get fired from her job because nothing is just going right for her in her job. But on Josie's 27th birthday, which is where the book begins, she inherits a book of spells from her gran, and her whole life her gran has told her about this book of spells and how there is a heritage of witches in the family, and when she's 27 she'll get these powers. So Josie gets this book of spells, and she has to decide whether she is going to buy into the whole witch thing and try out the spells, or else will she leave it. And then obviously she tries and things go horribly wrong, and she has to try and fix everything. So it's kind of one of those books that you could really see as kind of a very light, entertaining chick flick as well as a book. It would probably translate quite well into a movie because it's all, you know, magic spells gone wrong, what to do, everything just a big upside down mess. Yeah, so it was just quite fun to read. I gave it 3.5 stars. The reason I didn't give it 4 stars is because while it was funny, I think the humour just took over at some points and it got a little bit too ridiculous. Some parts of it, like it just got a little bit too try hard funny, rather than subtly funny the way it should have been. So that's why I gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars. But it was a really enjoyable read, and it's a great one for a rainy day that you just want to sit down with a good book and have a laugh, and that's what I did. So yeah. So that is all the books I've read. I feel like I've been talking for ages, even though I haven't, because I tried this video a few times before and I just wasn't working out at all. So, yeah. So thank you for watching, and comment if you have anything to say about any of the books I read, and I will see you guys again next time. So bye!